In this video, I'll be demonstrating navigation through WebAcute Status Board. When you first log on to Meditech Expanse, you will be defaulted to this page. Starting from the top left, you will see the Return button. The Return To button allows users to toggle between different screens and charts that you have open, similar to having multiple tabs open on your desktop taskbar. To the right-hand side is the Home button. Clicking on the Home button will bring you back to the WebAcute Status Board homepage, which you can see on my screen at any time while you're in Meditech Expanse. The down arrow to the right-hand side of the Home button allows you to toggle between the ED tracker and the WebAcute Status Board. If you wish to re-enter the WebAcute Status Board from the ED tracker, simply re-click on the down arrow and click on Acute Status Board. Moving over to the middle of our screen, the Chart button will allow you to access in the patient's chart. Document and orders are self-explanatory, allowing the provider to write notes and order items on their patient. Clicking on the Discharge button will bring providers to the Universal Discharge Plan, which can be filled out throughout the patient's stay or nearing the end when you are almost ready to discharge the patient. More information about discharging patients can be found in the documentation videos. To the right-hand side, we have our Sign button. Clicking on this button will lead you to the provider's sign queue. If there is a number at the top of the sign button, like I have on my screen, it means that you have that amount of orders or notes to sign off on. Please note that when entering the chart, if there are orders that require your signature, the system will flag you with an additional pop-up prompt. Next, we have the Workload button. The Workload button will be used by health records to notify you of chart deficiencies. This means that you have items to sign off on before they are able to officially close out a patient's chart. Next, we have the Menu button. The Menu button houses two important links for us. The first is External Links. By clicking on External Links, you will be brought to a pop-up page that has quick links to helpful pages, such as Connecting Ontario, Epic, which houses Halton Healthcare policies, FormFast, where you are able to print out Halton Healthcare approved forms, such as consent forms, and a quick link to UpToDate. The second useful function of the Menu button is the Reports button. By clicking on Reports, you will be brought to a list of customized built reports that were designed by our Halton Healthcare hospitalists for you to use. Under these buttons is the Find Patient search bar. You are able to look up a patient by typing in their last name, comma, first name. You are also able to search for a patient by using their MRN number or their account number. To the left of the search bar, this circular arrow will force refresh your Meditech Expanse session. Underneath the Find Patient search bar, we also have a Recently Accessed tab. This will provide a list of patient charts that you have recently accessed, giving you quick access to their charts without having to search for the patient using the search bar or to search for the patient in your rounds list. Let's move on to the meat and potatoes of the WebAcute Status Board. When you first log on to Meditech Expanse, you will be defaulted to the Rounds Patients list. As you can see, to the right-hand side of the Rounds Patients tab, I have the number 7. This means that there are 7 patients on my rounds list that have been assigned to me as the MRP. If you would like to add patients from someone else's list or cover for another service, such as surgery, I'm going to teach you how to build your coverage. To do this, you will click on the Silhouette button, and then you will click on Edit Coverage. By clicking on the Provider tab in Build Coverage, you can either search for a provider by their last name, first name, or by a consulting service. In this example, I am going to cover Dr. Kira. You are also able to search for consulting services to cover for by typing in the word consult. Doing this will bring up a list of all the consulting services within Halton Healthcare that you can cover for. In this case, I will be covering Dr. Kira only. Once you have chosen who you would like to cover, press Save, and you will notice on my rounds list that my silhouette now has a second silhouette, meaning that I'm showing coverage. In addition, the number of patients that are on my rounds list has jumped from 7 to 15. Let's go over the WebAcute Status Board in the rounds list. As you can see, simple demographics for patients are shown on your screen. You have the patient's name, their OT number or their MRN number, you have their birthday, you have their admit status, and you also have the date that the patient is admitted into the hospital. Moving over to the right-hand column, you will see code statuses on patients if it has been ordered. And then underneath is helpful where you will be able to see isolation statuses, as well as any special indicators that the patient may have listed on their chart. For example, a falls risk or malignant hyperthermia. Underneath, you will see in color-coded status, the status of the patient's MedRec. As you can see, if the home medications have not been updated, you will see blue. If home medications have been confirmed, you will see it in green. If medications have not been confirmed, you will see it in red. To the next column, we have our MRP for the patient. Moving over, we have the age of their patient as well as the diagnosis that they have. You will also see the location that the patient is in. The yellow sticky notes act as a virtual Post-it note for yourself. Only you, as the user, will be able to see whatever is written in these yellow notes. No one else will be able to see them. By clicking on the yellow box, you will be able to free text in what you want to write on your virtual Post-it note. To the right-hand side of the virtual Post-it notes, we have our quick launch box. Items that are bolded in black mean that there are new results for you to take a look at. If anything is highlighted in red, it means that there are critical labs that are resulted on the patient. By clicking on the quick launch box, you will be able to have a quick view of the new items that have populated in the patient's chart. However, entering the patient's chart, which will be covered in chart navigation, is a better way of seeing a fulsome view of the patient's data. Now that we've gone over our rounding list, we can take a look at our sign out page. Sign out does not necessarily mean that we are signing out of Meditech Expanse. This means that you're ready to finish your rotation and hand over to the next person that is covering for you. By clicking on sign out, you will be brought to the sign out list, which looks similar to the rounding list. The main difference are these white text boxes. Whatever is written in these white text boxes will be able to be seen by anyone of the same provider group as yourself. Clicking on the white text box will allow you to put in your sign out comment, where you're able to free text what you would like to communicate to the oncoming provider. If you would like to print out your rounding list to have a paper copy to carry around with you, go back into your rounding list and click on this 3-line menu button. Once you've clicked on that, click on Report, and you will be brought to a page where you're able to choose the format of your patient rounding list. Click Print. You will be defaulted to Preview, and by clicking OK, you will see a preview of your patient list where you are able to print out using the Follow Me Print function. For hospitalists, you will be printing out your rounds list in a slightly different way. Navigate up to the top right-hand corner of your screen and click on the menu button. Next, click Reports. Depending on the site that you're working, if you're in OTMH, you can select the Rounds List OTMH Hospice PCP option. If you're working in Milton or Georgetown, you can select the option below. For the sake of this demonstration, I'll be selecting the Rounds List OTMH Hospice option. This will lead you to a page where your name will be defaulted into the PCP field. You can also add another PCP's name if you are covering their list. Scroll to the bottom of the screen and click Print. The system will ask you if you would like to preview the list, and you can select OK. Once the system has populated the list, a pop-up will appear at the top right-hand corner of your screen. You can go ahead and click on this pop-up. You will now have the PDF of your rounds list to print out. And this concludes navigation of the WebAcute Status Board.